Good morning or good afternoon, everyone, depending on where you're joining us from, and welcome to today's webinar. My name is Eugenia, and it's our pleasure to have Hexaware Technology with us today, who will be presenting this webinar titled Agentic AI in Data Engineering, from Automation to Autonomous Intelligence. Now I'll provide some housekeeping information before we start. First of all, I would like to welcome you to our webinar platform On24. You'll notice that this webinar is browser-based. So if you disconnect for any reason, please just click on the link that you received via email to rejoin the session. During today's event, there will be plenty of time to ask questions to our speakers. You can do that via the questions widget. Just type your question in this box and click submit. And we will allocate some time at the end of the session to answer questions or any thoughts that you may have. We'd also like to invite you to fill out a short survey at the end of today's event. If you require any assistance, please use the Help widget, and you can move, resize, and maximize any of the windows in front of you to get a better view of the slides. But now, please allow me to welcome Zora Laga, an AVP Data and AI Solutions at Hexaware Technologies. Over to you.
Thank you, Eugenia. Good morning and good evening, everyone. My name is Zora, and I am the Agentic AI lead at Hexaware. I will be the moderator for this session today. At Hexaware, I'm responsible for designing the go-to-market strategy for Hexaware's Agentic AI service offerings, specifically in the Agentic data engineering space. Over the last 23 years of my career, I have had experience of working both on the industry and the consulting world, giving me a very unique end-to-end perspective on AI transformations, right from model development to enterprise integration. At Hexaware, I work at the intersection of data and AI and enterprise transformation, helping organizations move from AI ambition to real governed outcomes. And in this session, we will be sharing how Agentic AI is reshaping data engineering so that enterprises can scale AI faster without compromising on trust, control, and compliance. Joining me in today's session is Pradeep Singla from Microsoft and Suraj Tiwari from Hexa. I would love if Pradeep, you can introduce yourself, and then we can hand it over to Suraj for his introduction.
Yeah, thank you. Hi, everyone. Good morning and good evening. Myself, Pradeep Singla. I'm a partner solution architect with the enterprise partner solution team of Microsoft, more focused on data and AI side, leading data and AI Better Together initiative in Microsoft. Nice to meet you all. Suraj, over to you.
Hey, thanks, Pradeep. I am Suraj Tiwari. I'm head of data and digital architecture in XXL. My team is responsible for setting the enterprise data and AI strategy, modernizing our digital transformation and foundations, and ensuring data and AI is directly enabling business outcomes. I have 22 years experience in tech and AI world, have seen multiple business and digital transformation, and I'm based out of US East Coast. As part of the introduction, we're going to talk about data and AI here. I do want to share a quick survey that I came across recently. As per one of the independent European survey company, they mentioned that they are seeing a quick trend of YouTube adoption. And I consider YouTube as a perfect data lake example, because we keep dumping tons of video into YouTube. And the real challenge is that how do we identify the videos that we are interested in? Now, there was 3 things that was outlined as part of that survey. The first one, definitely the YouTube PR and marketing. They have been continuously improving, which I understand. The second is definitely the customer base. So they have access to a lot of customers, so it's easy to sell. But the most important thing that caught my attention was the models, the AI models that was helping now. So when you log into YouTube, the model itself kicks in, the agent itself kicks in, and it exactly knows what would be of your interest, and they try to get that video out there, which is helping audience, which is helping users to get to the right video. What is important that I understood is the challenge today is like And we all probably go through that phase, right? We log into Netflix, we log into Prime, we log into YouTube. Probably we spend 10, 15 minutes just trying to find out what should I watch. And then finally we get to the video. And that is where I feel like the magic should be, right? The agent can come in and help us to reduce that 10, 20, 30% that we spend today finding the right content, finding the right data, or finding the right insight for business. So how do we get business insight a lot faster? By reducing the cost and amplifying the insights that we have. With that, Zora, I'll pass it on to you.
Thank you, Suraj. And I think you make a very, very relevant point. And this was a great segue for me to kickstart this session, right? And let me start with my very simple observation. I think every executive here believes that AI is extremely critical to growth, efficiency, and competitiveness. But most initiatives, AI initiatives, will stall on data. It's not models, it's not people, it's not the talent, it is data. Specifically, how long it takes to turn the raw, fragmented data into something that is more trusted, governed, and usable at scale, as Suraj, what you put, that we can mine the insights quickly and enable faster decision making. With the rise of agentic AI, I think this is very much possible because agentic AI has now changed the way in which how data engineering workflows are being designed and executed. Unlike your traditional automation, agentic AI can now create autonomous and goal-driven agents that are capable of reasoning, decision-making, learning and adapting to dynamic environments. And this makes it very, very realistic to have business insights and build more resilient data ecosystems that can then help improve faster decision-making that is more trustworthy. I'm going to take this opportunity here to, bring in Pradeep. Pradeep, give us your thoughts about what is the current challenges in AI that one faces, from your experience at Microsoft. How are you seeing the shift, and how are you looking at addressing some of these challenges in data and AI?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Zora. Yeah, as you're mentioning, right, AI is accelerating business transformation. And if you look at the slides, like 86% of the business leaders believe that AI will bring the more revenue or maintain the revenue in the coming years. And 90% of the leaders reports are already showing that all the leaders, organizations who are investing the money in AI, they are seeing the positive ROI. But they are still struggling with one question: how they can realize the full potential of AI. That's where the next slide plays a very big role. This is a step-by-step approach if you want to build a trusted and scalable AI platform. So the most important thing is to have a unified data platform. So now, if you look at the different organization, their data is located in a different silos form. Their data is located in on-premise clouds, or they have in a third part. They are using hybrid clouds. Their data is in AWS, GCP, or Microsoft. Right? You need a platform where you can bring the data together at one place, so that you can create a single source of truth. Once you have data as at one platform, then that's where the AI journey starts. Now, for data engineering, data warehousing, or building even the dashboards, you have the AI services. If we take the example of Fabric IQ, Fabric Data Agents, or even like already automated AI platforms available like the Document Intelligence, where you want to bring the images or the pictures, you want to use AI platforms to get the informations from those documents, and or if you want to use sentiment analysis algorithms, already all those tools available. So you can bring your data and you can clean your data using those AI services, and that's where you can create your gold layer. Once your gold layer is ready, what is the third step? The next step is, now you want your organizations that if they ask any question, you want to provide them a conversational AI system where they can ask their question in a natural language. As a business user, I don't need to be expert on the technical side. I don't need to be expert in SQL or writing the DAX queries. They can use those conversational AI systems where they can ask their question and they are getting their answer based on their organizational data. That's where the RAG pattern come into picture. So they can create their single source of truth and they can create a RAG pattern and they can get the answer based on their organizational data. Once the organizations are comfortable with the RAG pattern, then they can take the next step. That's where the agentic AI plays a big role. That's if now after the RAG pattern, if they want to automate their business processes or a day-to-day repetitive task, that's where the agentic AI plays a very big role. So now all of these four steps, as I mentioned, the most important is unify your data. How Microsoft is helping on that side. That's where the Microsoft Fabric plays a very big role. So Microsoft Fabric is a unified SaaS platform for transactional data as well as for the analytical data. So we are bringing all the transactional services as well as the analytical services in one platform as a SaaS platform. So if you look at it, if you look at the pictures, we have the Microsoft Fabric has all end-to-end analytical services, whether you want to do the data extraction using Azure Data Factory, or you want to do the data engineering, either you want to use the Spark or you want to use the SQL, and then if you want to generate a Power BI dashboards, we have the Power BI platform also available in Microsoft Fabric. On top of that, if you want to bring your real-time data, we have the KQL databases, Event House, Event Stream capabilities available. On top of that, if you want to have the data science capabilities, we have the ML flow capabilities also available in Microsoft Fabric. On top of that, now you want to create a conversational AI system, we have Fabric Data Agent and the Fabric IQ capabilities. And if you look at the screen, Fabric has a very well integration with the Microsoft 365 suite as well as Microsoft AI stack, whether it's Microsoft Foundry or it is a Copilot Studio. And also now you can see as I was talking about, you need a unified data platform where you want to bring all your siloed data into one place. How Fabric is helping through shortcuts. Like if you have a data in AWS GCP, you don't need to create a redundant copy of your data. What you can do, you can use the shortcuts and you don't have to create any ETL pipeline. Using the shortcut, you can bring the data from AWS and GCP into your one link. One link is your data lake in Microsoft Fabric. And also, if you have a data in Azure services also, like might be in the Snowflake or in your SQL DB, you don't need to create a pipeline. You can use the mirroring capability of the Microsoft Fabric to bring you that data into one lake. Now you have a data in one lake. Similarly, if you have a real-time data, you can use Event House to bring that data also in one lake. Now you have a data in one lake. Now you can clean it using the data science capabilities, and then, as I explained in the next last slide, that you have a gold layer created in your fabric. Now you can create a conversational AI system, which is like your RAG pattern using the fabric data agents and the fabric IQ. Yeah, that's how Microsoft is adding the capabilities to realize the full potential of AI. Zora, back to you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Pradeep. I think this is a brilliant insight, and I will share also over the next couple of minutes how Hexaware's vision is of how agentic AI fundamentally changes the equation in the data landscape. But Hexaware's vision and Microsoft's capabilities, I think, play beautifully in terms of solving very real life, on the ground problems that companies like AXA face. So what I want to do over the next few minutes, like I said, is share how we imagine agentic AI can change the equation, compressing the time, the cost, and as well as the risk of getting value from data to true value, right? So let me just stop. So what we show here is, like I said, this is how we envision agentic AI across the entire data and analytics value chain. On the left, what you see, let's start with the agentic data engineering. And this is where most organizations struggle today. Manual ingestion, building brittle pipelines, slow on profiling, there's constant rework that's always happening. Agentic AI, for us, agentic AI now changes this. What we have done is we've created specialized agents that automate ingestion, profiling, transformation, pipeline creation. Think of agents that understand schemas, data quality rules, lineage policies, not just the code, right? And that kind of automates the entire, helps you build better resilient data ecosystems. At the center, what you see is the data readiness for AI. And in my opinion, this is one of the most critical layers across the value chain. This is where data becomes truly enterprise ready. It's contextual, it's governed, it's explainable, it's more compliant, it's lineage tracked. And agentic workflows now will ensure that the data agents ensure that data is not just available, but it is also AI ready at scale. And that is the difference of moving from a POC to a truly scaled capabilities. And on the right, what you see is the AI solutions and what we call today as Vibe Analytics. So the trusted data that we have built now powers the AI solutions. You have conversational analytics, you have autonomous insights. Business users don't need to wait for dashboards to be created. They can interact directly with the data in real time with confidence that every answer that they get is trustworthy, it's traceable, it's covered. So Hexaware's vision is a promise that there is end-to-end acceleration from raw data to business value. Right? But in spite of all of this, the real question is, how do we operationalize this and make it available at scale? So let me move on to the next slide and let's talk a little bit about that. This is what we believe when you turn the value chain into an operating model. And I spoke specifically on agentic data engineering here. Right? For us, it is an agentic platform that turns the business intent into AI-ready pipelines in not months, but in days. So we start with business intent instead of long requirement documents. Intent is now expressed directly requirements are expressed directly in terms of what outcomes we want, what data really matters, what policies, regulations we need to be careful of. Right? Agentic orchestration takes over. Multiple agents now will collaborate, one focused on ingestion, another on transformation, another on governance, control, data quality, and so on and so forth. And then in spite of all this being automated, the most important thing, crucial thing is that this is not a black box. You still have a human in the loop. Human review, human approval is built into this by design. So every critical decision at every stage, whether it is schema changes, enforcing rules, deployment, all of this now has checkpoints. This is how one can maintain the control, the regulatory alignment today, right? So what you get today is a production-ready pipeline that is explainable, auditable, compliant right from day one. And you get it at an 80% faster delivery, enterprise scalability across your platforms, across your lines of businesses, an AI-ready data foundation with built-in trust, governance, and auditability. But again, there's always a but. Most organizations are not going to jump into this kind of a full autonomy. There is a maturity curve that one needs to take care of. And that is what I want to stress on in my next slide. So this shows a very realistic picture of how one evolves with agentic AI in data engineering to building fully autonomous systems today, right? You start with, most teams will start with assistance, humans lead, agents will help in summarizing the data, generating the code. But the value here is learning, trust building with certain amount of efficiency gains. The next horizon, or as we progress on this maturity curve, comes augmentation. Here, agents execute routine work end to end, while humans are more focused on decisions oversight. There's a role reversal from what we saw in Horizon 1 now. Right? This is where your collaboration becomes truly possible. Agents propose, they recommend, humans approve, and based on this, the systems will learn. And that's where you see this faster time to market, better effort savings. And then our final North Star is to have a completely autonomous engineering ecosystem where agents spin up on demand, they own the tasks end to end, they operate continuously, there's minimum human intervention. Humans will still set the intent, they design what needs to be built, they bring in the policies, but the agents own and deliver the outcomes. And this is where organizations truly start to unlock really good efficiency gains and value. So, bottom line is that agentic AI is not about replacing teams immediately. It's not. It's about re-architecting how data work gets done, how these agents can now integrate into the modern data platforms so that you can compress time to value, embed governance, and create a foundation that can be scaled across the enterprise and can be consumed very safely across the enterprise. I want to take a pause here and, Suraj, you come from AXA, you deal with these things every day. Give us a little bit of understanding in terms of what your organization faces data challenges. How have you navigated through your transformation journey so far?
Zora, thank you. First of all, it was really very insightful, some of the information that Pradeep shared from in Microsoft, the couple of capabilities that they have been working and launching lately as part of Fabric umbrella, which is quite helpful. And also there were a couple of things which stood out clearly in your framework, right? Especially I saw that 100% traceability and 0% non-compliant, zero tolerant for non-compliance, which is really good, right? It's quite impressive. I think we did talk about data, right? Data plays a very important role for any AI enabler. We all agree, we all understand, and I think data quality and readily available data are going to play a very important role for any successful AI solution. As we all probably aware that MIT has come out with their recent survey and studies that they do say that a lot of AI solutions that actively companies are working are not yet fully successful. And I think one of the key things that they call out was the data readiness. So what we as a part of XXL, we are focusing right now more on one, clearly documenting all or classifying all our documents and data and creating a good metadata for AI engines, which very wisely covered by Pradeep, right? That RAG system, the knowledge base, the knowledge graph, that is very important, that plays an important role in the AI agentic AI and Gen AI processes. So Hexaware is really taking a step back, looking at our documents, classifying them. We are also creating, we have created a framework where any documents that comes in, we start tagging them as internal, confidential, and secret. So we exactly know that what document can go through agentic AI, go through AI, and what could not, right? Because we always know that there are secret information, secret data that we would not like to expose yet on some of these platforms. I think the one other topic I do want to share from an Excel point of view is that the question comes quite often, right? What's the impact of agents, agentic AI, and Gen AI and AI services on the workforce? I feel the shift is going to be from an individual spending a lot of time writing code, writing very complex process, handling very complex business processes, to switching to more of an designer, more as an governor, more as a quality check, and putting and defining the right constraints, contracts, and guardrails. So there's a slight shift the way we operate as part of AI, but still we're going to be there. I think in the framework, what Zora presented, human in the loop, it plays a very important role, right? So if you think of a 3-pillar of agent, build an agent, deploy an agent, and the third is the supervise an agent. So in all 3 pillar of agent, if you see, there is an involvement of human, and we all as a workforce will play a very important role. But one very important thing is we do have to switch. We need to adopt ourselves, right? There was a very interesting statement I heard. I don't remember, but in one of the summit or seminar, where a person said that if you really need to worry, it's not about that AI coming in, but it's about if you're not using and adopting AI in your day-to-day work. So if you start adopting it and if you start learning, I think you are still in the race. Zora, pass it to you.
Sure, I think that's a very fair point, Suraj, and I kind of believe that there is the design engineering, and then there is the engineering of data, and there is decision engineering. I think humans will be playing a very important and critical role in the decision and design engineering and the decision engineering, whether it's the engineering of data, whether it's bringing the system to building data products or mining insights, is what agents will play a key role, right? Pradeep, I wanted to kind of, before we get into the Q&A, wanted to get your last thoughts in terms of, I think this is great in terms of what Microsoft offers, and especially for IT service providers like Hexaware, working in collaboration with Microsoft, building some of these capabilities for clients like AXA to help them in building their data transformation journey. I'd like to take a few last thoughts from you before we start with Q&A.
Yeah, definitely. If you look at the slide I shared, like the 4 steps, right? Unified data solution, cleaning your data with AI. The third step is the RAG pattern, and the last one is the fourth one is the Agentic AI. I think that's where Hexaware is now adding the value, right? The fourth step was automating your repetitive day-to-day tasks. That's where the agentic solution provided by the Hexaware in your data engineering plays a very big role. Now you don't have to manually create those pipelines and all that, right? Those are your day-to-day repetitive tasks. Now Hexaware is making those day-to-day tasks helping you to automate those tasks. So it's a really great value, right? Instead of now those data engineers manually managing those pipelines, you are making their life easy by automating those tasks. So it's a really great value, right? Not just from the data engineering side. Think about now you have to do the data mapping, manually, like managing like data models, those manually. If the agentic solutions helps you to build those pipelines for you, I think the decision which you were taking in like in months, now you are taking in days.
Thank you so much.
Yep.
Let's move to Q&A, and we do have some questions. And if we're not able to answer these questions in the given time, then we will get back to you on those questions after the session, right? So let me start with Suraj. Suraj, in a highly regulated industry like yours, right, how do you operationalize governance controls, access controls, policy enforcement, especially when agents are now becoming a very active participant in the data workflows? And we talked about autonomous agents, etc. But in spite of all of that, we still need to bring in regulatory and compliance. How do you, and at an operational scale, how are you looking at this? How do you operationalize governance?
Yeah, I would say pressure is on, right? And I think it goes well with the one of the tagline that you had, Hexaware had, is the 100% traceability. But our vision in Hexaxle is treat agent like a first class auditable identities, right? So it's not a magical automation that we are thinking of, right? Agent can come and automate it, but we need to governance in an operationalized through a policy as a code. So we define the policies, we define what agent is capable and what agent is not capable. And one of the core principle of the policy as a code in Hexaxle is that we start with the least privileged by default, right? So if an agent is created, we do not give more than what agent is really need to be delivered. Now, if you think of it in our old school days, right? What are we talking about is that practically explicitly define your authorization policy, and that applies to the agent as well. So you define your RBAC, you define your ABAC, define what the claim-based approach you're going to have it, and then it goes back basically, fully logging and full approval process that we would need just in time for any evaluation. So that plays a very important role to align with your regulated expectation. Also, as part of our AI governance, responsible AI governance process, which we have put a framework in Hexaxle, we want to make sure that all the controls and measures do align with our AI governance expectations. Now, the three key pillars of the responsive AI governance in Hexaxle is traceability, transparency, and human oversight. And all three plays a very important role to make sure that we are fully aligned with our regulatory requirement as well as with the compliance. And I did mention, I think in the start, is that the focus should just not be in building and deploying agent, but the supervising of agent plays a very important role. And we should also focus on that pillar if we want to be fully compliant with our regulation.
I think that's a good point, and you're right. Focus should not just be on automation and getting things done faster, and that is definitely the intent. But the focus should be on building trustworthy systems, and trust is very important. Bringing in the governance, bringing in the compliance. I feel like you're going to see emergence of new roles like chief governance officer, chief ethics officer. I think those are going to become very, very real, very, very crucial as we move into a very agentic and more of an agentic world. Okay. So I have a question actually for Pradeep from Russell Smith, and he asks a question as, is ETL even relevant in a zero copy world today? Your thoughts on it, and then I'd like to extend that to something a little more generic, but I would love to get your thoughts on this. Is ETL relevant today?
Yeah, it is relevant, right? Because if you look at, I talked about capabilities like fabric mirroring capabilities or fabric shortcut capabilities. Those capabilities are available not for every data source. So you have to have a tool which is like Azure Data Factory. You need a tool like to bring the data from those data sources where the shortcuts and the mirroring capability is not available. Once your data, you got extracted the data from those data sources, you have to have transformed the data, because the data you are getting, it's not according you based on your business goals. So you have to have cleaned that data according to your business capabilities, right? What are the KPIs you want to see out of that data? So ETL is still relevant in a zero copy world.
Great. An extension to that, right? What architectural patterns are now emerging because we're integrating multi-agent systems with your modern data platforms today? What are you seeing? What are the emerging patterns and how is Microsoft building these tools?
So Zora, I just want to get a better idea. You're asking that like in a agentic world, like how the data engineers roles are changing. Is that what you're asking?
Yes. So what is the new role of the data engineers, the data modelers? Because now you have multi-agent systems that are generating pipelines, they're doing the testing, they're building your documentation. So what new skills are becoming more? Yes.
That's a very great question, right? And it is very timely where like you are bringing agentic in data engineering, like the Hexaware solution, right? For the data engineering agentic part. So definitely the data engineers now evolving from like a pipeline builder to intent designer, or you can say evaluator or expert of a trusted data system. I think the most important one I can think of is that now data engineers has to play a role of data product managers. Instead of like thinking how to manually create those pipeline, they should think about like who is the consumer of those pipeline, what decision that those pipeline will help them to enable, what the success look like, and how it will evolve. Like they have to have like a good domain knowledge, and they should play a role in a decision making context. And another thing I was talking about, like they should think more on the, instead of thinking like how to create those pipeline, they should think about why and why they are creating those pipelines, whether these pipelines will help them uh, to their business leadership to take the decision. Like, so they have to play a role as a data product to have the good understanding, like generating a quality KPIs based on the business leadership requirement. Uh, and they have to have a very good expertise on the prompting and the instruction engineering at the system. They have to have a very good expert, like how to write a good prompt to create a right pipeline to design to get the data which their leadership really needs. So yeah, that's how instead of manually creating those pipelines, now they have to focus more on the why and whether questions.
The why and what do you need? And then once you build that, what do I do with it, right? Like how do I utilize, like how my AI insights, what do I do with it? How do I make it more relevant for my clients? I think these are going to become the emerging roles, and I think also governance. You still need, I mean, being a data product manager, as you put it, I think they will also become governance officers, supervisors, right? Engineering supervisors who are now supervising these agents. So we have
I would quickly also add. Go ahead, Pradeep.
Yeah, I completely agree with you, Zora. So their response, it doesn't mean with the agentic their responsibilities are decreasing. Actually, their responsibilities are increasing. Now they have to think with the same way their business leadership is thinking.
Yes.
So I feel like it's very great. Like they are getting more involved how their business works. They just don't have to be technical. They have to be now technical as well as they have to think more from the business perspective.
So that you have a
And
point.
quickly from a business lens, right? So I know that we have been talking about zero copy, zero ETL, and these patterns are kind of shaping up very quickly. But I also think that there's a huge opportunity about all the peripheral processes that we have around ETL right today. So when we have to ingest the data from discrete different systems, source system, it's just not about the writing the code. It's about how do we ensure that we work with data profiling and sourcing team to see whether the data is already available in our platform. We work with data governance to ensure that what data lineage and data profiling has been done on this data. And then we also ensure that what should be the common data model process. So, the whole data modeling piece work that goes before we kick in the ETL process. So I'm seeing that from a business point of view, from a client point of view, there's a huge benefit of some of the framework that Hexaware have created, and we are engaging on a Maze platform, which can help in terms of, with help of AI and agentic AI, to auto create the data models, to auto create the data profiling and data governance processes, which I feel takes more time than truly coding the pipeline. And that is where I see a huge benefit of agents coming in, taking request business use cases, translating into more of business capabilities, business use case to more of technical document, and then feeding that technical document to a pipeline, which can then quickly evolve and create a very insightful data product that can be used for a BI product lens.
That's a great point. And I also feel like silos are going to be broken more than ever now, right? At an enterprise, across the organization, you're going to have agents and systems that will be capable of working across and being applicable across an organization. The phase of building your own pipelines and building is now becoming slowly about building enterprise, and those silos are going to be broken. So to be able to, like you said, right, being able to think about as a leader, as a business leader, as an organization leader becomes even more and more important. Okay, I think we have time for 2 questions, so we'll get onto that. We have Virender Singh from AbbVie, who asks that they work with patient level data and they have to clean this data manually at their end. Are there any AI-based data cleaning tools that can help do this work faster? Deep, I'll probably start with you, if and then I can give my own 2 cents on what we're doing at Hexaware.
So how can we leverage AI capabilities in transforming, such as building cloud landing zone? Is that the question we're talking about?
No, I'll come to that. I was talking about cleaning the data cleansing tools, data cleaning tools today that are available.
Yeah, definitely, right. I was talking about like document intelligence. Like if you have the documented data, you don't need to find out, build the AI capabilities by yourself, how to fetch the data from those PDF files and Word documents, right? You have the document capabilities to clean get the data from those documents. And more on the data engineering side, from the cleaning, like we have the Spark capabilities and the SQL capabilities in the Fabric, but those are available in other tools too. What Microsoft is adding the value, adding the Copilot functionality, on top of those data engineering capabilities. Like whether you are doing through the Spark or the SQL, you can use those Copilot functionalities, and it will help you to write the code to clean your data. You don't need to be now very expert on the Spark. You can use the Copilot functionality. You have to be a great prompter. You have to ask your question in the right direction so that Copilot can help you to clean your data. So yeah, I can think of those are some of the capabilities available in the Microsoft Fabric.
Yeah, I can add a little bit on that. Some things that we're doing also at Hexaware, like we talked about coding agents, etc. But when you have what we built out these agents that way before your data comes even into your landing zone. You can profile your data. We profile agents that profile the data for completeness, uniqueness, all of that, and give you essentially recommendations and saying, okay, you've got this month, you've got just half the records that you would usually get, or you don't have your primary key, or your matches are not there. So that kind of makes it easy then to make a decision in terms of how you want to correct this data and use that, and then use the data downstream. The other thing on the cleaning of data also is that we do have the data quality. We've built our data quality agents that we deployed with a number of our clients to actually measure the quality of data, and then you can have your standard KPIs and customized KPIs that will determine the quality of data. Uniqueness, completeness are just a few of them, but then depending, it gets down to your table, column, row level KPIs, and identifies the gaps that are there in your data. You may have too many missing values, you may have null values a lot, for example. It doesn't just stop at that, it also then recommends what you need to do to fill in those gaps, or recommendations on how you actually clean that data. And then, as we've said, you then integrate it and generate that code to cleaning code based on the recommendations of the agents. And that kind of completes the cycle in terms of how you identify your data gaps, build recommendations, figure out what you need to do, and then use that to clean data. So hopefully that also answers your question.
I just want to add more on top of that, Zora. Like in the Fabric, we especially were in there, as you're asking the question on the healthcare side, we have a healthcare data solution in Microsoft Fabric. Like we have the fire pipelines ready, right? If you want to bring the fire data, even you want to do OMOP analytics, claim data, we have the common data models also ready for all those functionalities. So we'll highly recommend you to look at the healthcare data solution, Microsoft Fabric.
Right. Okay. Pradeep, you were also talking about the other question from Mohammed Gulfaiz Bakar on the transformation projects, such as building cloud landing zones, and what AI capabilities can be leveraged. You want to give a quick answer on that?
Yeah, definitely, right. When you're building landing zone, it is more about the medallion architecture, right? So we have the capabilities for the whole ETL pipeline. Like from the extraction, we have the Fabric Data Factory pipelines are available. Similarly, those mirroring functionality, shortcuts, which will help you to build your raw landing zone, right? Then on top of that, if you want to build your the silver layer, that's where the data engineering capabilities come. So we have the Copilot functionalities along with Spark and the data warehouse. Then we have the data science capabilities also available. On top of that, once you have your gold layer ready, you can use a semantic model capability using the Power BI functionality. That functionality is also available for generating the dashboards.
We have 10 minutes on the clock, so I want to end the Q&A with something which is very relevant, which I feel is very, very critical, right? So far, we've talked about how do you automate, what are the capabilities available in Fabric. All of this becomes relevant only when you can truly see value, and value, measurable value that maybe translates into some kind of financial outcome. So that I'm going to bring you in at AXA, because there's also a lot of investment in technology that you're putting in to bring in this kind of automation, and it is only fair to be able to realize measurable value. How are you tying the AI that you're building to your financial outcomes today?
Yeah, so the way we look at it, right, the old principle has not changed, right? Any work that we do in tech and AI space, it has to be measured with efficiency, experience, and business growth. And business growth is very important. So what we have created in XIXL, it's a value framework that links directly with the AI initiatives and how we are able to measure those outcomes across efficiency, experience, and business growth. Now, it is important to start tracking some of the business metrics like profitability, margins growth, product and portfolio performance, customer journey engagement. And for us in insurance space, it's also important to track the agent and broker reported outcome. For example, propensity to bind, right? So we are bringing in more and more triage process. We are looking to more and more introduce agent that can quickly scan through all the emails, get the submissions, extract the informations, and create a ranking for our underwriters. So how does that help, right? So for example, if you had thousands of submissions, which prior to AI and agentic world, with a limited number of underwriters, we cannot go through all the submissions, but we would just pick based on the first come basis. But now with triage, we can at least go through it and identify the right ranking and right opportunity where we feel we will get the most business growth, and we identify that. So it's important you define your metrics for your business where you see that the most business growth, and you prioritize your AI initiative accordingly, right? Again, lot of when you think about agents, agentic AI and Gen AI, all three space, if you think, we should always think of it's an assistant for human to improve our day-to-day activity and also increase the growth or revenue growth for an organization. One other thing which is important is it is very important to define the value and risk upfront and measure the impact, what it's going to have, what's going to be on the business runout, right? So a lot of time we always focus on the efficiency, experience, and business growth, but it is also important to see what's the trade-off, right? Because as we have been talking about, there is a regulatory compliance and legal requirement which does slow down on some of the aspect of what we are doing in the AI space. So what's your value versus the risk that you're taking is very, very important. Again, I do want to close with, as we have been talking, right? Agentic AI changes how the work gets done, but it's not that agents are accountable. It's us who are accountable for the governance, traceability, human oversight, resilience, and measurable value. So yes, we as a human, we as an organization, we as a client customer, it is very important that as we bring in more and more AI capability, it is important to tie back the measurable business value that it's going to deliver for our customers and for our organization.
Thank you for those thoughts. We're almost on time, so I'd like to close the session. Any other questions? I think we've covered everyone's questions. In case if we have not, we will answer them separately. I want to close this session by saying it's been very, very enlightening to hear from you, Suraj, as well as from you, Pradeep, on what's happening on the ground and how agentic AI is truly becoming transformation. I think I'm going to close the session with one thought. I don't think the question is any longer about should we use agentic AI. I think now the questions that we need to ask is where do we start on this curve and how fast do we move to really make a measurable impact. So thank you all. Thank you for this lovely session, and it was a pleasure talking to you, Suraj and Pradeep. I will hand it over back to you. Thank you. I'll hand it over back to you, Eugenia, for any closing comments.
Yeah,
I think
thank
one
you
of the
very much.
questions, Eugenia, about the session and being available after this. So if you want to quickly talk about that.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Zora, and thank you very much, everyone, for this great presentation. And just a reminder to the audience again that you can still send any questions while watching on demand. This platform is fully interactive, and all questions will be answered at a later date. I would also like to thank the speakers for what was a great presentation and the Hexaware Technologies for sponsoring this session. To the attendees, you'll receive an email telling you how you can access the on-demand version of this webinar. You can also access it through our website, which is pmi-live.com. We look forward to sharing further webinars with you, so please do keep an eye on the website just mentioned. Thank you once again, and I hope you all have a nice day.